Deb Polly.
Here.
Ryan Dainert.
Here.
Sandy Burke.
Here.
Connie Hennon.
Here.
Lauren Pedersen.
Here.
Sarah Lehnen.
Here.
Molly Maniak.
Here.
And then student.
Thank you. Then consideration of the agenda, let's see, we had, in case you printed your agenda earlier today, we have removed one board policy that we're gonna send for further review to the, admin team. And then, we had a late addition to the action items, number, 8.6, change to the high school calendar will be an action item. So any questions or anything about the agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Sandy, is there a second?
I'll second.
Sarah seconds. Okay, discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
No, I didn't oppose. I was a late aye on the yay. It wasn't, my mic wasn't on, so I ayed on the yay, but I was
Thanks,
late.
Lauren, because my mic wasn't on at all till right now.
Can you explain that again? I didn't quite get it.
I felt kind of bad because I saw Sandy look and I was like, no.
No, I was like, wait, wait, what? Okay, so we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No one indicated that they want to speak, no public comment. So tonight, we are honored to have a special group with us that will be presented with the Jordan Pride Awards.
All right. Good evening, board. Just wanted to start out by thanking you for having this opportunity for one of our high school groups. Our harmonics group has been in working together for 5 years now. Ms. McKnight has led them through all 5 years, came here 6 years ago, and kind of got their toes wet probably during Pop's concert of that first year. And then from there just kind of has built this program that has gone through the ebbs and flows of growing, dealing with COVID, and then coming back as strong as ever. And so we're here to honor our young women that are in harmonics and for their great performances this year, winning at the regional event and then going on to Milwaukee. And I'm sure they can probably share a couple of stories. And I think that McKenna said she's going to do a solo, so we appreciate that too. I'm joking. McKenna was downstairs, and I said, "Are you doing the solo?" And she was like, "What?" And so I'm joking. McKenna, you don't have to do a solo, okay? But I'm just really proud of them, and I've been not only as an administrator and as a principal seeing this group from the beginning, I've also had the pleasure of seeing it as a parent too, and I just know what it has done for my daughter, from the shy little 9th grader through the strong 12th grader that she was, and being a part of this. And I know that part of Katie's mission with this group is to empower young women to become even more. And so I guess at this time I'll welcome Ms. McKnight first to introduce her. So Ms. McKnight, if you can come on up here. And we'll just have you say a few words, and then we'll have you introduce the students, and I can help hand out certificates.
Well, thanks for having us come in tonight, and I'm just especially grateful that you've given us the space to share our music. Like Mr. Visner said, one of my biggest goals with harmonics is to encourage young women to build their confidence and to see their worth, and music is the greatest way to build that confidence and share their talents. So what I love even more about harmonics is that it's mostly student-led. So yes, I'm there and I'm guiding them, but they choose the music, they choose the soloist, they write all the choreography, it's all them. And so that also helps them see that they are capable of things that they might not have otherwise realized they could be capable of, but because they're working together, they get to achieve great things. So I'm really proud of them, and I'm really grateful to Mr. Visner for giving us all the support that he's given us over the last 5 years to make it a reality for these young students. So, yeah.
Let's do this. I will say the names, and if you want to shake hands and give them their. All right, so first up we have Kerrigan Backer. And we'll have you stay up here, Kerrigan, so we can take a full group picture too. Piper Cooper. Arlie Cruz Lopez. I'll read off the names of the students that aren't here too. So Caitlin Vidston is not here, but congratulations, Caitlin. Another Caitlin, Caitlin Mahoney, is here. We also have one for Catherine McKnight. This Zabdi is not here. Zabdi Paez Gill is not here. Good job, Zabdi. Nicole Ray. McKenna Ritter. Allison St. Michael. Michaels. Sorry, I missed the S on the end there. She's not here today, but Mackenzie Williams. Amelia Zent. And before we do pictures, I think there were a couple. Do you want to announce the individual awards that the group also got for the 2 events?
Sure. So part of the International Championship of High School A Cappella Competition, which is like the real life Pitch Perfect, if you know that movie, there are a number of outstanding awards that the judges can give. They don't always give them, so it's only if they think that they're deserved. So at the quarterfinals this year, senior Allie St. Michael's received the Outstanding Soloist Award. So good job, Allie. Yay. And our 2 choreographers, sophomore Caitlin Vidston and junior Caitlin Mahoney, received the Outstanding Choreography Award at the quarterfinal as well. And then when we advanced to semifinals, Nicole Ray received the Outstanding Vocal Percussionist Award. So congrats to Nicole. So trying not to brag, but going to brag a little bit. It was just really cool to see that at both events we received awards at both, and I don't think any other schools did that. So I thought that was really just a cool thing that many of them got showcased. It wasn't just one student, like so many of the combined efforts got recognized, which I thought was really cool. So congrats, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McKnight and ladies. We just thoroughly enjoy you and appreciate it. So we can't wait for you to perform for us sometime.
I know, I'm sorry. Well, we're missing enough, too many
Yeah.
people. After the Pops concert, and we have our own a cappella concert at the end of May, too.
We will. Great. Thank you again. Okay. We have a big consent agenda. We have the 314 regular board minutes, the monthly finance reports. The donations that we are accepting tonight is an anonymous donation for harmonics in the amount of $400. The Jordan Education Foundation for various grants for Jordan Public School staff in the amount of $9,954.58. The Parole Family for band and drama, $4,000. I maybe said that wrong. I don't know if it's Perot or Parrot. It is Parrot? Okay, thank you. And Michelle and Aaron Norberg for band, $500. So we're grateful for those donations. We have several policies. Most of them, I believe, are our annual policies that we have to renew at least once a year. We have a new hire, a high school building engineer, Dwayne Rockney. He comes in at step 10 on the 284 contract. New hire, elementary school psychologist, Bailey Grosskopf. She comes in at an MA plus 40, step 3. Baseball coach, Jeffrey Henning, group 6, schedule C. Fall play musical director, Thom Amundsen, schedule C. And then we have the retirements of Laura Lee Axtell, our elementary school special ed teacher, Colleen Chambers, our middle school phy ed teacher, and Brian Gustafson, our high school dean of students. And just kudos to all 3 of our retirees, and we will be honoring them. So we'll have an opportunity at our May meeting to talk specifically about them and honor them. Then we have the resignation of elementary school kindergarten teacher Rhea Carlson, Resignation, elementary special ed teacher Tamara Stenslin. Resignation, school psych, Jamie Gover. Resignation, elementary school special ed paraprofessional Julie Lowy. Resignation, middle school food services site lead Maya Buss. Resignation, elementary school teacher Kylie Omi. And resignation, elementary school teacher Jessica Rance. I will entertain a motion to approve consent.
So moved.
Ryan, is there a second?
Second.
Molly seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 8.1, terms and conditions, unaffiliated directors. Superintendent Evenson.
Chair Polly, members of the board, good evening. Happy Monday board meeting. For our first item this evening, I actually am going to do a summary for the first two items. This item's unaffiliated directors, what that essentially means is standard director contracts coming together in one document. So I'll explain that. We met with 11 staff last week. It's one of our marathon days that we do, expired contracts that expired in July of 2021. And one of the things that was important to us was to make sure that we were consistent when appropriate and efficient with our operations moving with these contracts. What we've been seeing is a pattern of contracts that all have the exact same language, but they're all separate documents. And that kind of creates a paperwork nightmare, and it's really challenging and not so efficient for us in our operations. So when we say unaffiliated directors, all of the directors' contracts that were up all had 99% of the same language. So we've created one document, as you saw when you looked at the board packet, with an addendum on the last page with the individual directors' salaries and benefits noted. We're very excited to be able to move in this direction. Just as a note on the directors piece, we have 3 directors that are on a different cycle that we'll be working with next, and we will move to get those 3 added to the unaffiliated directors as we can in our next processes. So it's a really good move for us with efficiency and makes a lot of sense. The other piece, besides the consolidation of the documents, is that we wanted to make sure that we were very intentional following a standard set of procedures, as we did with our EMJ group, as we did with our paraprofessionals, secretaries, and nurses that we met with previously. And what that really entails is we take a look at competitive salaries across our region. We also take a look at what we call the comparable districts. And if you guys remember, as we look at even our budgets on revenues and expenditures, we use a set of comparable districts. And it's helpful because these districts have similar student populations, similar resources, similar funding to us. And so it's a nice guide. It's a piece of data that we can use to help us as we're starting to look at salaries to see where we are compared to other districts just like us. So that was a piece of the puzzle for our negotiating team as well. We also had a goal to be, of course, competitive with salaries, but also be in line percentage-wise with the typical increases that other groups have gotten that we've negotiated with. And I feel like we've met that mark. So the first item would be the unaffiliated director terms and conditions. You've all had a chance to review that document. And then the next document would be confidential employees. Confidential employees is a separate action item that Chair Polly will bring to us. But just as an educational piece, what that means, because the language might look different, those are positions that were all separate contracts that work with some private student data. They might work with some budgetary pieces. They're typically not student-facing, in terms of their role, though they might interact with students. But we were able to look at those contracts as well, and we found the language was 99% the same. So we did the same, followed the same process, combined that into one document, and there's a summative page at the end with individual positional salaries and other terms. So I hope that's helpful. Any questions on anything that I've shared?
Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the terms and conditions of the unaffiliated directors.
So moved.
Ryan, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Sarah, thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Same for the terms and conditions of our confidential employees. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Sandy, is there a second?
Second.
Who is that?
Molly.
Molly, thank you. Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Athletic fees annual review. Mr. Perkel.
Good evening, board. Looks like we're on. This year, we looked at our average numbers and what we've done over the past, I believe, 2 out of the last 3 years in raising fees. And in talking with our finance director and superintendent, we at this time are not going to make a recommendation to raise fees this next year. One thing I did note in there, and I probably should have said this for the other sports because it's something, well, we haven't had as much with the co-ops with Prior Lake, but with any of our co-ops where we are a partner, that fee can't be considered part of the Family Max because we turn that fee over to the host school. So we did have some families who were a little confused when they signed up for lacrosse thinking they would get a discount when actually we need that entire fee to hand over to Southwest Christian. So those families were understanding of that. It's new, it's a change, but that's something we'll probably add to our language within the fee structure is that those co-ops where it's a host school, where it's we pay our fair share, which is lacrosse, boys and girls swimming and diving, and gymnastics. That fee gets turned over to the other schools, so that's not considered part of Family Max.
And so I think you just answered the question, but it does not then, we don't have any control over that fee. The hosting district sets that fee, correct?
Correct,
I
yeah.
just want to make sure that people understand that.
Yep, with our agreements, it was that we would be handing over that amount of the fee. And actually with gymnastics and swimming, it's a little different where we actually pay our fair share. So if there's 40 girls on the swim team and we have one, we would pay 1/40 of all the expenses from that. We've got a pretty good deal with Southwest Christian where they're just taking our entry fee and having us participate as part of the team.
How do we compare to the districts within the Wright County Conference?
Great question. I just I ran the numbers of public schools in the Wright County Conference East, along with our neighboring districts of Belle Plaine and New Prague, and it's scary close how average we, I think, are $4 over the average in football, $2 over the average in high school athletics, and it's either 4 or 2 for middle school and high school. So we are when you compare the public schools in the Wright County East, along with those with New Prague and Belle Plaine, and take those average numbers, including us, we are pretty much right on par, just a hair over, a couple dollars over in each area.
Okay.
Did we raise them last year? I can't remember what we did.
Yeah, well, not high school athletics. I believe we did
Middle
middle
school.
school and fine arts. And then 2 years ago, did high school athletics. And that was a $25 bump in each of those. And then in there somewhere, and I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago, we adjusted the Family Max a little bit. So I think I can't remember off the top of my head, if you're a high school student, by that third season, it's almost free.
How many kids did we send to Southwest Christian for lacrosse?
27.
Nice.
27, yeah. I was hoping for 10 to 12. So we were able to work it out where we could provide, and a lot of them are not of driving age, so we were able to provide to and from transportation to practice and one-way drops on game days.
So obvious follow-up question is how many kids you need to have your own program?
Yeah, you know, and this was a very big conversation my first year because we were really trying to push to add it, and you know, a lot of these kids are first-year lacrosse players.
Yeah.
I want to say, and I gotta be careful because 3 girls are finding out tonight that we'll have 3 varsity girls and 2 varsity boys from Jordan. The rest are a lot of first-year or middle school kids that will be part of the JV.
Is that starting 7th grade?
They do, you know, they're a 9-12 high school, but they have some of their feeder schools that they allow participation in. Not great participation just because they're kind of unaffiliated with the school. It'd be kind of like St. John's for us.
Sure.
But we have, we have a big numbers. I want to say 14 girls, 13 boys, somewhere in there. So realistically, to answer your question, you need about 18 to have a team. And then we're kind of dealing with some growing pains in soccer too. You want to have the right 18. You want to have either a JV team or a varsity team. So realistically, you want to have a few more than that. And that's why we had this opportunity to co-op is because they just didn't have enough. They didn't have
Well,
the
but,
depth.
I mean, if you take 7 through 12 in soccer, our numbers are probably pretty good. I mean, that's over
Yeah.
60, right?
Yeah, we're high 40s.
High 40s? Okay.
Yeah.
You had 33 girls, I believe, and 22 boys this year. And I would just caution that we want to make sure we have a younger program and a feeder program, because I think that's the struggle with soccer, is that we haven't really developed, like football has the JAPA and JBA has JBA. We just really haven't quite developed a strong enough feeder program in our youth soccer. So before we, think about expanding, we want to make sure we maybe have a youth program that would come into play for lacrosse. That would be
Yeah.
my recommendation.
Yep. I think we've learned a lot with that, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but with soccer, we are going to do a varsity C squad, no JV this upcoming fall, working with both coaches. Better opportunity for our novice and middle school kids to be on a C team instead of playing like a New Prague or a Orono JV. A much better opportunity and an experience for those kids.
So it sounds like if you were to get to the 50 to 60 kid mark, you'd start considering.
I
at
don't
that
think
point.
I don't think Southwest would be interested in keeping us around if we had that many kind of taking over their program. So that'd be a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, any questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion, and then we still can have questions. I'll entertain a motion to keep the athletic fees at the same rate that they were last year.
So moved.
Sandy moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Second,
You have that one,
Connie.
Connie.
Okay. Okay, further questions for Mr. Perkel? Great job, thank you. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, summer program update, Mr. Williams.
Good evening. Summer programming update. So there's some awesome things that are happening this summer within the district. So we have our targeted services and extended school year programs, which I'll talk about both. So we'll just keep going, otherwise I'll jump ahead, way ahead. So I'm just gonna start talking about what is targeted services. So targeted services provides before and after school for students in grades 1 through 8. We also do have a high school credit recovery. That is, I believe, Jeff, that's still part of the targeted services group. So we do offer it through 12th grade, but the 9-12 is credit recovery. Targeted services is designed to meet the needs of our students academically in the areas of reading and math. So how is it funded? Funded by students' attendance and membership. So the more students we get is better. That's how we get it funded. That funds that also provides the amount of staff for teachers and paraprofessionals to help support the program. So it's basically by the number of hours, students' attendance, that funds the program. So extended school year services, ESY. So that is an extension of the IEP, which meaning that when students are not showing any, that are showing regression, or they're having a hard time recoup what they have learned over an extended period of time. For example, like during Christmas break is a really good time, and spring break is a really good time that we collect data, and then we monitor their data when they return. So if a student is struggling maintaining or progressing what they have already, the skills they've had before a break, and it's taken them a long time to gain those skills back, those are the students that qualify for extended school year. So this year we have students in our life skills program, and then we also have our academic students in reading and math, and then we also have our students in our autism program that get service in our ESY, which I already talked about. So ESY just meets FAPE. So again, it's that we're just providing that free and appropriate public education for our students in order to help them maintain their skills that are learned throughout the school year. So I briefly talked about factors considered when students so just the factors considered when students are in ESY. Regression recoupment is the big one, like I talked about. Significant or self-sufficiency is really those are life skills kids. In order for them to just be self-sufficient and maintain the skills that they've learned all through the school year, that's the area that they would qualify under. But the biggest one, like I talked about, is regression recoupment. The other one is unique need. Unique need are students, for example, we might have a student that might have moved in and they might have been very low, and all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, they've kind of struggled throughout the school year, and they have that unique need in order to, they're gonna benefit from extended school year services to maintain those IP goals and objectives. So extended school year, I always want to preface this because extended school year is not, it's not to gain gain new skills. Extended school years is to maintain the skills that they have learned throughout the school year based upon, and it's all driven based upon their goals and objectives on their IEP. So kind of getting to the fun thing. So our summer school programming this year. So with targeted services, we're going to offer quite a bit for our students this summer. Extended school year is offered for 3 weeks in June. And as you probably have read in my monthly newsletters and so forth, that I always kind of share with you when our extended school year services are, but we're also putting targeted services with that in June. But as you can see up on the presentation, that we're also offering it in July and August, which I'm really excited about. Aaron Yomlin and Stephen Jensen and myself, along with Sarah Miller, we have come up with great activities for these students. So we are going to, which I'm again talking ahead of myself, which is probably on another slide. But anyways, during this time, we're going to be working on the social emotional learning piece, but we're also going to incorporate more of the hands-on. It's not going to be sitting in front, learning about math and reading through worksheets and so forth. We're going to add more to that.
So Chad, if you don't mind my asking, would those be the same kids for all 3 sessions, or is it 3 separate opportunities?
So each one of these are teacher referrals.
Okay.
So teachers will refer the students who qualify for it. So they will get the opportunity to go throughout the whole summer.
Okay.
The social emotional is 2. So it's going to allow that time for the students to utilize, so if I had Dominic and Dominic was going to be in targeted services, he could have the opportunity to be participating throughout the summer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Extended school year for the students on the IEPs is just June. But if they do qualify for any additional targeted services, they could benefit from the July and August piece. So we met as a group and we came up with an objective, and that's our objective for the Summer Adventure Academy. So we're calling it the Summer Adventure Academy, which focuses on both the social, emotional, and academic support. So yeah, I almost went ahead of myself. So this is kind of just the overview of what the Summer Adventure Academy is. As you can see, we're really going to be innovative in the way that we're going to provide activities for these students. Some of the things that we're going to do with that academic piece is we're going to, get Lego kits, we're going to get Sphero balls, we're going to get more of the kind of the STEM type things too for these students. So it's just, like I said, it's not going to be sitting in front reading a book or doing things on worksheets. It's going to be a lot of hands-on activities for these students in the Summer Adventure Academy this summer. The social emotional piece too. Again, we're going to be more of the interacting. We're not going to be, again, sitting in the classroom. We're going to be interactive with the environment, with the community, and we're going to provide those students with activities like going on field trips, teaching them how to socially interact out in the, in the public, and getting those kind of situations where you get those teachable moments for those students, where they might not be getting along with somebody, but we're going to provide those skills in order to teach those students how to be able to cope and to be able to move on with things that they might be struggling with in life, but also provide them with that fun activities that they may not have the opportunity to get during the summertime. So we're really excited about providing them with different activities during the summer. So I, again, jumped ahead. Again, this is teacher recommended for them to qualify for the Summer Adventure. We do look at the different types of data, FastBridge, MCA, the Swiss data. So we do take a lot of things into account, and of course the teacher referrals are the big ones. Any questions?
Do you have trouble staffing? I mean, this is a lot of schooling, which is good.
Knock on wood. In comparison to our area districts, we have been very fortunate. Sarah Miller has done a really good job of recruiting staff, and we have staff that continue that, and same with the extended school year, knock on wood. we have great staff that are willing to put in the time and work with our kids in the summer, where honestly, I have neighboring districts wanting to already say, can we have your kids come here and we'll help, you know what I mean? Like, they are struggling to find staff, but, yeah, no, I mean, knock on
great.
wood again, I don't wanna jinx it, I'm seriously. But, no, I mean, what, if you asked me 3 months ago, I would be concerned, but I'm not now,
It's great.
yeah.
Good. Questions for Mr. Williams? Looks like great opportunities for our students this summer, so thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see Aaron Yomlin and
Yes.
Steven Jensen, Sarah Miller, thank them. They've done a lot of work and behind this too.
Great, good. Thank you.
Yep. I'm gonna stay up here because I got the next one too.
Okay, next is overnight extended field trip request.
So yeah, as we look into the summer, the request that we're gonna be making, that I'm making on behalf of the Scott West Wrestling is requesting the Scott West Panther high school varsity wrestling team to utilize our vans. I put in here, I'll just kind of read what we're doing. So every year, as you've been told by Mr. Ripley and Mr. Stoffer, our summer camps that we attend yearly and annually with our wrestlers. This year, we are very fortunate to go down to Cedar Falls, Iowa to attend the Iron Sharpens Iron camp. This is a great camp that is going to provide our wrestlers with the skills and techniques as they go through every year, but also the big thing I want to point out is, as some of you know who follow our team, is we're going to find leaders. I'm really excited to see what kids are going to end up developing leadership skills. As you know, we are a very young team, especially coming into next year. So we want to find these great leaders, but also it's the team bonding. You know, personally with a seventh grader that's going into eighth grade, I am very excited for my son to be a part of this and be able to build the team bonding and relationships with the older kids on the wrestling team. As I kind of went through a little bit, you know, we're going to go to that camp for 3 days, and then as we have every year, we kind of go and take a little tour and see a little bit of the country, but we're not going to go way far out. We're just going to head down to St. Louis. We're going to see the Arch, attend a baseball game, and spend the night there for a night, and then head on our way up, which the other part on the way back, I'm really excited, is to go visit Pat McNamara. So we're gonna go visit one of our legends who have wrestled here for Scott West, and we're gonna attend one of his day camps. So it's going to be a lot of work for these kids, but we're also gonna add the fun to it. But yeah, so I'm really excited to, again, to be a part of the program and to be able to watch these kids grow and develop and become great people, along as with great wrestlers, and build the tradition back up to once where we were. So I put the dates on there, so we're, and I should have said that right away, I'm sorry. We're gonna leave on June 20th, and we'll be back on the 25th.
Great opportunity for our wrestlers. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Can we ask,
So moved.
any questions?
We'll do
Sorry,
that
sorry.
after.
Okay, sorry.
Lauren, is
moved.
there a second?
Second.
Connie, okay. Questions for Chad or discussion?
I just have a question as to the transportation type, because it's not, I don't think it's filled in, so I was just wondering, how are they getting down there?
So, like myself and Matt Hannon, Stoffer, and Justin Reedsma, we're all certified to drive the vans down.
Okay.
So, yep, and the cost of the cost of the gas and everything will be paid by the families and
Hopefully
by
it'll
the
go
ones. Yep. Yeah, no doubt. That's the thing that I think. So yeah, our cost actually, when we first started, was lower, and now
Yeah.
I just got an email today that the prices hopefully are final. So it actually is different from up there. It's going to cost around $300 per wrestler to attend it. But honestly, $300 to get the experience that they're going to get that's cheap. To tell you the truth, with everything that they're gonna see.
Great. For other questions? Comments? Okay. Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Williams. 8.6, high school calendar adjustment. It's a minor adjustment, but I felt it should come before the board.
Yeah, I want to just start off by apologizing for confusion on this and
No.
look back on, I looked back through my Google Docs. One of the beauties of Google Docs is that you can find when you've started things and when you've done them. So we've been doing this for 4 years, that we've done reward and intervention 4 times per year. And what we're doing now is just looking at the needs that our students are having, and in looking at some other places, just seeing that there are really schools that are doing something even more than what we're asking for here. So we want to pilot this it's really only 3 additional days because we already had 1 scheduled in for the end of second semester. But I think there's some confusion on whether it should be on the academic calendar or whether we put that on the web calendar. And so we'll clear that up and clean that up. But what I'm proposing is that we do 4 reward and intervention days in April and May. And what that would mean is students would go to all of their classes. Each class would be 15 minutes shorter for that day. And then the hours from 1 to 3 would be used for intervention time. Now with that, we always use reward and intervention, but we should also use the term extension. When we did this during the pandemic, we had students coming in to get more help. So you might see students going into Senora Peters' Spanish class and getting more help. So it's, like their Spanish 4 or Spanish 5, students that may not need an intervention, but they might need some extensions or they want to go a little bit further. And that's a marketing problem that I have put on the plate here, is that this is an opportunity for all students. Students don't have to, if they're passing all of their classes and they are above 70% and they don't have any homework, they can still go to their classes and get help from teachers. But what we're really trying to target, and we saw this last year, and again we're seeing it this year, is that students still haven't fully gotten into the swing of what school is like again. And so we looked around, saw what other schools were doing. I have it up here. South St. Paul, I read this article on South St. Paul. They're doing full day, every Wednesday, they're doing full day intervention. We're not proposing that. We kind of looked at what they're doing, what Prior Lake's doing, and went for kind of a hybrid. But South St. Paul is doing it, and they've seen their student success skyrocket. Students that were getting F's and D's are now getting B's and C's. The kids that are getting C's and B's are now getting A's because they're going in on those days with smaller class sizes, and they're having some success with it. Prior Lake has been using Laker time for at least the last 3 years. And so that's every Wednesday they start out from 8 until 10 is Laker time. And that's targeted interventions with students that need it. And then they go with a abbreviated schedule for the rest of their day. So what we're proposing is just doing 2 in April, 2 in May, really trying to meet the needs of our students, and really still, we've got students that are seniors that are trying to make up credits from last year and from this year, really trying to find every way we can to help our students have success and graduate. And I know this is unique to a high school, and I have it on there. Our stakes are just higher. I'm sorry. I mean, it may sound arrogant of me as the high school principal, but students move from the elementary to the middle school. Students move from the middle school to the high school. Students at the high school who don't complete the academic requirements don't move on. And that's why we're pushing what we're pushing, is because we want to see those students move on to their next adventure. So again, students are not required to stay on campus for interventions that are not required can stay. They can still stay and get more help. What we see is on an average, somewhere between 6 to 8 kids in each classroom when I walk around. And teachers are having individual time. They're sitting down next to students. We're just finding a lot of success with it. And I know this is a side note, but maybe I'll put Kaylin on the spot here with this one. But we also need to, as part of our PBIS program, is we also celebrate students that are doing things and getting things done. And it's an opportunity for students that may have everything done, that they get a couple hours off. And it's not, I know there's some concerns about, but what about my students' learning time or academic time? One thing that we've found is that our students are our teachers, I should say, are a lot more efficient. We found over the last year when we really narrowed down on what our standards are and what students need to receive, that I think we're able to do that and sacrifice 15 minutes 3 times throughout the semester. I really do. So I don't know, I mean, Kaylin, as a student, I'm putting you on the spot, and I did not prep you for this. We actually didn't meet today, the first time ever that we haven't met before. But maybe you can just speak to it from a student perspective.
So yeah, I think people really look forward to a day just being able to go home early. And I know I missed a test, so I have to go make that up Wednesday afternoon. So it's a great chance. If you're missing anything, or just if you need to have a conversation with a teacher, it's a really great opportunity to get the chance you wouldn't in a classroom of 30 students. I think it's really helpful for students.
Super, thank you for that. And the other piece, and this is just a side factor, that I know students will be missing more in the spring for sporting events, and that's why we purposely put it on Wednesdays, because we know students wouldn't be gone on those days, and they can make that up. So let's say that, I don't know who, somebody has lacrosse on a Tuesday and they missed a test, they can just go the next day and take that between 1 and 3 and be caught up. So there's some advantages to that too. But again, I just want to apologize for any confusion it might have led to, or people emailing you or asking questions. We want to pilot this, see how it works, see if it's something that's monthly, bi-monthly, only at the quarter, never again. You know, we'll look at the data and find out what really strikes home. I can tell you this, that I don't have the perfect numbers, but I know that every time that we do reward and intervention, we'll have 130 to 150 students that get off the list before the day. They will work their tails off to get that 2 hours, you know?
That's great.
And mission accomplished, right? Because that's what we want, is for them to get their work done. So I guess I'll step back now and ask if there's any questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why an early release versus a late start?
The early release, because of in the spring especially, we talked about that. The early release ties in better with students having to leave a lot for athletics. We just thought it fit better with that. We've talked about it. I think it's just harder. I think it's easier for students to find a way home than it is to find a way in too. But we've talked about it. We've just never had the gumption to just say, hey, let's try. So maybe that's our next one.
I just know my kid would prefer to sleep in an extra 2
Yep.
hours because he's got sports every day
Yeah.
after school.
No, it's good
So
feedback.
they got to come back anyways.
Yeah.
But
I think it's that, for the most part, and I know some parents will share concerns like, well, what do the kids do that are around? Honestly, it's amazing how resourceful they are in finding a way home. You know,
or they all walk downtown.
They walk downtown, and some people don't like that either, but you know what? We gotta let kids be kids at some point too, knock on wood. Chad was knocking on wood before there. That's a great question. I think we've just never done it, so we're not as confident about how that works. But I'll certainly bring it back to our team to look at different ways. Yeah.
You know, just to piggyback off of that, Molly, years and years ago, when I first started on the board, Sheila Bauer ran a strategic planning session, and that was one of the questions that was addressed. And parents by far did not want the late starts. Like, that was a huge thing. They did not want the late starts because it was hard to figure out a way to get their kids to school. So now at the high school, it might not be quite as big, because we were thinking across the board. And for elementary and middle school kids, that's a huge issue. And so, but I think that, you know, high school, it might not be quite as big of a deal. So I just wonder if when we're doing some of the strategic planning sessions, if that might be a question on the table.
Sure.
So,
And I think that ties into like our PD days, because we've talked about that before. I mean, in my 11 years here, we've talked about, should we do some in the morning versus the afternoon, because staff is burned out by Friday afternoon, and I don't know that we get as much done as we would hope to on a Friday afternoon. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not as productive on Friday at 1:30 as I probably am at Tuesday at 8 a.m. I don't know. That's just me. But I know that was one of the things that was a concern when we've talked about it before, is, it hasn't been real popular in the community. So, but it might be worth asking as we go into our strategic plan too. Yeah, it's a good point, Sandy.
Speaking for my 16-year-old self, if I had a 2-hour break in the morning, the odds that I just do school that day would be very low.
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
we're the parents, they gotta go to work.
And I
But
think,
that is true though, because the
It is.
parent
I
is
mean-
responsible, I mean, they are getting out the door at least, right? And that
Yeah.
is one thing, is they're making sure the kids are going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think having Wednesdays is better than Friday afternoons than
Yeah.
what we've been doing, because I mean,
Yeah.
Friday afternoon, I am spent, right?
Yeah.
So for me to have that be my time to catch up on, you know, anything that I may be behind,
yeah.
you may not have that engagement or.
Yeah, and that was purposeful. And you know, it's interesting, when we did our first one, eons, I think it was 2017 or 2018, we did it on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. And as we got feedback from students, they're like, you know, this would be really nice on a Friday. You'd really feel like a reward on Friday. And they're right, I think it does. But I think for overall academic success, Wednesdays just seem to fit better. And like I said, we know for the most part, that's not an activities night for us, so that helps too.
Right, today, track left at 2:10, right? Those kids maybe who missed tests today, they could make that up on Wednesday
Wednesday.
then,
Yep.
right?
Yep, yeah.
Well,
That's our
I
hope.
think it's a great opportunity, and, you know, I look to the future and think that, you know, if you feel it's really beneficial to look at possibly expanding it. And I know the last 2 years, we haven't even really had these discussions because of COVID, and kids were coming in trying to catch them up. It just kind of happened because of COVID. So I think it's good for us to have this discussion at the table for the public, and so I think it's great, so.
Thank you. I really think we did some super creative things through COVID and through the pandemic that were
Yep.
allowed. And some of those things, not were allowed from the state level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those things some of those things stopped, and they went back to, well, let's see, your student was only in school for this many minutes. And I think we became more efficient. We
Mm-hmm.
found way more opportunities to instruct our students in different ways than I'm standing in front of the building and here's what we're doing, you know? So,
That's great.
yeah.
Well, this is an action item. We didn't get a motion yet, did we?
Motion to
Okay.
approve?
Okay, Lauren moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Molly. Okay, further questions for Mr. Visner or discussion?
I think it's gonna be great incentive for those kids that don't quite really get their stuff done, to get their stuff done so they get that afternoon off.
I
As
agree with
well
you.
as well as helping the kid, I mean, obviously that, but when you've got those kids that just need that extra, like,
Yep.
oh, good, if I get my stuff done, I won't have to do that.
Or it's the opportunity where people maybe don't feel comfortable speaking up in a class of 30, right?
That's
Or
true.
a larger class, but I need the help, but I don't want to be the one raising my hand saying, I need the help.
Yeah, no
That
one wants
also
to raise their
provides
hand.
opportunities for those students as well.
Yeah, and I like the idea that you don't just make it for the students that are failing or falling behind, that it's an opportunity for all students that, you know, like Caitlin said, that, you know, missed a test or something and have to make it up. I really like that approach.
I'll fix some of my branding.
Okay,
I'll work
there
on
you
my
go.
branding for it. Because
Did a little.
when we were in the pandemic and we had Fridays, it was intervention and extension. Because all of our CIS classes were meeting on Fridays so that they could get a third day to meet with those students. And I think maybe we just need to look at it more like that again. So,
Great, good.
lesson learned.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the change to the calendar, high school calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Visner. On to board reports. Superintendent Evenson.
All right, Chair Polly, members of the board, tonight, I just have a couple of quick updates. First off, I just wanted to note, tonight we have a busy night at JMS. It is our new family night. So before coming to the board meeting, I was able to be downstairs with a ton of fourth grade families. They packed it in down there as Mr. Bakeberg was introducing just the events of the evening and getting folks started before they go on their individual tours. So I just want to publicly welcome those fourth grade families to our middle school for next year. And I just want to also say, well done, Jordan Middle School staff on this night. It was nice. We had a great PTO presence down there as well. It just was a nice positive buzz. So very cool. The other thing I wanted to share is strategic planning update. So I've been putting little nuggets in the weekly update that I share with you as a board. And then at our work session later this month, I'll do a more full presentation with a slide deck, just to kind of give more of the nuts and bolts of what that process will look like. But tonight, if I were to give you just an overview, I'd tell you there are 3 phases. And the first phase really is an informational phase. And that's that survey piece. Next time we meet, I'll have actual copies of the survey for all of you to take a look at, to give input and feedback on that before we get that out. We'd like to get the survey out to our families in late April into early May. And the survey is different than the typical survey that we've probably done in the past, like pre-referendum and all of that. This is more program specific and achievement type things. So I have a draft of it. We're looking at it at the leadership level as well, but I'm going to bring it to the board the next time we meet at the work session. Additionally, we'll be doing a communication campaign to reach out to our families and really our community members. We'll do some targeted communication, and actually tomorrow I have a phone call with Gail Gilman. She's pulling together a toolkit for us with just different communication samples and such that other districts have used to send to their community members to get them engaged in the process. Because when you think about that phase one, that information gathering, it's more than the survey. We have that May 9th marked on the calendar as really our input and feedback session. And that will be the place where we invite anybody and everybody that would like to be involved and share input. There are specific targeted groups. That'll be 1 hour sessions. So when we meet next time, I'll have even more detail on that. But it's likely we'll have an hour with a student group, an hour with maybe a parent group, an hour with our elected officials and community members, an hour with staff. And the last time I talked to Gail, they've been running those virtually because they had better participation, because it's easier for families to log on than drive somewhere. And so we'll be looking if that's still their format. That's what it was the last time I talked to her. But we're going to be really interacting and being specific with who we reach out to. So we'll do a full blast to the whole district, all the families. We'll do a full blast to all of our staff. And then we're going to really, really push to get people involved. So we have lots of groups already. I have a list this long of different committees that we have with different adults that have volunteered their time. You know, SEEK, Curriculum and Tech, Boosters, JEF, Dollars for Scholars, our PTOs, Community Ed Committee, City Council group that works with us, Commercial Club, Lions, Lionesses, ECFE, parent groups. So we'll get that list of adult names and send them an additional message saying, you know, we know that you support our district and do a lot on the committee work. We'd love to have you give us some input and feedback. Come and join us on the 9th. So we'll have a layered communication that happens in late April along with the survey. So that's phase one. Phase two is where we really come together. We have 3 nights, and you've been given those dates, and that will be in late May and then in early June as well. Some of them combined with different work session dates that we have already on the calendar. And those will be 2-hour meetings. And I'll talk a little bit about the makeup of those groups as well at our next work session, but essentially that's where we have a small group of like 30. And so we're targeted, you have a set group of parents and community, a set group of staff, leadership, and the board. And they encourage all board members to come to everything that you can with this. And then on those 3 nights, there are specific parts of the strategic plan that we work on, and Gail facilitates that. And then the third phase essentially is how do we align everything? And that's where we've already got our plan written. You have the 1-page plan. And then what does that look like in terms of alignment to, say, the superintendent goals or board goals or district goals? So I'm so excited. I feel like we're finally there. We're starting to get to work on it. Next time we meet, I'll have a better, more succinct presentation for all of you, because I really want you to feel as excited about the process. I want you to feel like you really understand it and really a good part of it. So that's what I would say about that. We will wrap up before the 4th of July. I think, I want to say like June 27th is our last meeting. So it's going to be pretty tight timelines and really we'll be efficient with our work. But MSBA has this mapped out and they're that efficient. So we will get it done. And the other piece of it is, you know, we have other committees like our facilities committee that, you know, has, you know, met throughout the year, and we're looking at what is the future of our district. Having that work done is such a good foundational piece for us. So I'm just so excited that we will be there by midsummer. So.
can I just say that we want to invite Kaylin to be as much involved as much as you can? I know that you'll have a busy end of the year thing, but
For
we
sure.
certainly want to invite you to all of those board things. too.
That would be wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
because student input and student voice is very important to
Yep.
us.
And I didn't say student group, I think I said staff, parents. There will be a full session with students as well at the middle school and high school level. That is a piece of it in the plan, I just didn't say it, so, thank you. Yeah. That's all I
Is that
have this evening, yes.
Okay, any
Thanks for all your
questions
support.
for the superintendent? Okay, all the other directors' reports were included. Any questions or comments on any of them? I just have one question. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I do. Do you know the date of the awards night? Has that been set?
Thank you, I was gonna ask that.
It was originally going to be the 23rd, but that's going to be
Oh.
so we're looking at the 16th. I have to confirm with Mr.
Okay.
Perkle. So we're looking
Okay.
at 1 week early on Monday, the 16th.
Okay,
But I just want to confirm that with Mr. Perkle.
sure.
Just a couple of things. I want to start out with, we're getting to that end of the year festivities. I will give you a formal invite, but if you want to mark it on your calendars, May 28th is graduation. My favorite day of the year. It really is. It's just awesome to see. I was just looking through pictures again and saw the setup, and it was just a perfect day last year, I think, with the weather and everything. And who knows, the way the spring has started, hopefully the spring stays this terrible so that by May it's just no questions asked. It's just gonna be perfect. We have a blood drive coming up on April 20th that's run by the student council. So if anyone is a blood donor and wants to do that, we host it right at the high school in the multipurpose room. We'll start our master schedule in April. Testing season is going on right now. We've got math done, ACT, and reading are next Tuesday. And then we'll have science coming up after that. And then we'll have all of our AP testing also coming up after that. But I really wanted to just brag about this. I put it in my news and notes, but we have gotten a lot of grants lately. So thank you to the Jordan Foundation for a donation for calculators, graphing calculators for Mr. Peters in our math classes. Creative Communications is creating a whole sound studio and is really excited about that. And Mr. Bisik's also working with them and creating just a full recording studio for podcasts and videos. It's going to be really neat. And they gave some great equipment for that. And the health one, I don't know if everybody's aware, but Ms. Valerius's health is for her to be certified to do CPR. So then, right now, we always bring the students over here, and Jamie has been nice enough to do CPR training with students. But now Ms. Valerius will also be trained, so we'll have multiple people that can help train all of our sophomores in CPR training. So all of our students get CPR training at some point during their high school careers. And then the last one is a big one that Ms. Yomlin and Ms. Skipper worked on, and that was a CNA grant for a bed, a mannequin, and other tools to help our students have practical experiences for CNA, which is really cool. So we're finding a closet to put that in. Not a closet, it's gonna be a storage room, but we're getting that prepared too. So Stephen, get ready to move your stuff. But I just wanted to talk about those things because just last week you start adding it up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like $20,000 worth of stuff that people are supporting our students with. So it's really awesome. So really exciting about that. And then lastly is our teachers took a real leap and we're trying to do some new stuff with students, and those of you with students have heard this, but really trying to tighten up on cell phones and passes and just really trying to get students back in. We have great kids, and there's a ton of great things going on, and it's 95% of our students we're not having any issues with, and we're just trying to help them all grow. I hear stories from other districts, and I'm not seeing the same things in our schools, but we're trying to even make them better. So we've tightened some things up, and I'm sure it's led to some heartaches at some times, but we're just trying to help them grow and be more successful. So thank you for giving me a few more minutes to talk about that. Since I was here, I wanted to share, especially about the grants that we got. So thank you for all of you that have been part of helping us with those grants too.
Great, thank
Thanks.
you very much. That's awesome. Awesome. Any other comments or questions on any of the director's reports? Okay, then we will go on to committee reports. Calendar committee didn't meet. City school has not met. Communications has not. Community ed rec, Lauren or Sarah? No.
No.
Okay. Okay, curriculum is next Monday, I believe. Facilities has not met, meet and confer, I believe it's supposed to be this Wednesday, or next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Yep. And I don't know if it's happening yet. I meet with Sarah on Thursday.
Okay, negotiations, we covered that earlier in our action items, and we'll be moving forward soon with some more negotiations. 284 will be knocking at our door, and,
We have, I want to say 6 or 7 singletons that we'll be working on first, and then we have 284 and principals left, and then we'll be caught up for like 5 minutes.
yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Policy has not met. APAC, Sandy.
I was not able to attend because I had a last minute work meeting come up, so.
I was not able to attend. I had a.
Okay, and
legal
Chad's not here either. Shoot. Were you there? Oh, could you fill us in, Jeff?
We went over budget. We're looking very good on budget. We spent time talking about the different supports that Sarah Miller is working on with students, and those are going very well. We talked about the awards night, which is May 4th, I believe. I think it's May 4th, just running off the top of my head on that. And we have one student who is affiliated with a tribe, and so they will get an eagle feather. And we are working, right now it's hard time to find them apparently. And so we're working on that, and Alan Hodak and Ann Hegel are both working on that piece. We have now had 2 students that have joined the APAC group and are coming to the meetings and sharing
cool.
information. So that's been really cool. They're both sophomores, so they'll be around for a little while too, and are sharing input. And their proposal, that's really exciting, we talked about this too, is they would like to find time in their schedule starting next year to go over and mentor our American Indian students at the elementary
Oh,
school.
I love that.
So yeah,
That
it's really
is
cool.
awesome.
So those are kind of the highlights of what happened in the APAC meeting.
Great, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
I did have one question, Mr. Visser. I'm sorry, the blood drive, going back to the blood drive.
Yeah.
What is the age on that? Like, what is the minimum age? Do you know?
I think it's 16 with
Okay.
parent permission.
I think Caitlin has her hand up.
Oh, she's a part of that.
Yeah, I've been helping with the planning. It's 16 with a form, 17 without a form.
Oh, okay.
And the form is for parent permission, correct? Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Good, great, thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, Mr. Visner. Booster Club, Sarah.
They did not meet in March.
Okay, Education Foundation. Exciting news there. Connie and Molly. Molly? Looks
They
like
had
you wanna
bingo.
jump in.
We had bingo.
I wasn't at the bingo. I was out of
at the
town,
bingo.
but Connie could talk about bingo.
Well, first we should talk about
The
the money
grants.
that the grants. We went over, we spent a lot of time going over the grants. I think 3 grants were denied.
Yep,
Not
14
saying
approved.
that they can't come back again. And they're just awesome, things that will benefit all the different programs in our district. And we did have our first event, and it was awesome. We turned people away. There was people that couldn't fit in to the building. It was really, 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 really fun. And I don't know how much money we've made yet. That hasn't been turned in, but it was a record crowd, they said, so we'll have to see what we made. Our goal was to make 3 scholarships, so if we made 3 scholarships, that would be a success. There's people from out of state, there was people from St. Cloud. It was really, it was a fun event. And it was, the very first winner was a Jordan alumni, so that was really kind of exciting to see that. So there was some community members that won, and there was a lady that came up at the very end and just said, please do this again. This was really good for our community. So that was interesting, so it was a good event.
They do have the grad-grams, so you can get grad-grams right now, and those are due on May 5th. So make sure you get them and get them turned in. And same thing with yard signs. So you can also purchase yard signs, and you can purchase them online. You can pay for them online and pick them up, and those are also due May 5th, last day to order for those.
Do we drop the GradGrams off where we got them or at the high school?
Yeah,
I
you can. They
suppose?
have boxes out there
Sure.
that you can put them in there, and then, and I think National Honor Society is also going to be selling the yard signs and the grams at school.
Okay.
So,
And grams you can also pick up, drop off at Rademacher's and Bluff Creek.
yes,
As well.
and the circ.
And the,
Yep.
yep.
Great.
Hey, Molly,
Mhm.
are grams due for principals too on May 5th?
Yes.
I was cruising along. I thought I had a good system going, and now I guess I'm gonna have to up my.
Because I think I think the following week they're going to be doing
Right.
the
Gonna put 'em together.
put the books together and everything.
You have a month.
Yes.
I had like May 15th as my target date. I'm right on target with it, like 3 a day, but.
I can even start on that.
Yeah. And I think that's all.
You know, as the competition gets a little heavy, when some people start getting really artsy craftsy on it. And
Pictures.
yeah.
I'm
They're
working
awesome.
on mine. I got my pictures printed almost all.
I'm working on it.
And they are going to present the grants formally at the fall teacher back to school breakfast.
Oh.
So they're going to introduce the Jordan Education Foundation there and then explain each grant. And they did now, they're going to add to the grant application that if you win a grant, you agree to send photos of you using the grants. So then everybody can kind of see, because you give the grants and then you don't really know what they go for. So.
That
So
is
they're putting
great.
that in the application. But it says, by signing this grant application, I agree to send Jordan Education Foundation pictures, updates, videos of grants in use. So,
Great. Plus, that would be a good promotional way to get
Mhm.
staff to contribute to when they
Yes.
see their cohorts actually getting and using the grants. That's great.
yes.
Thank you. Legislative, legislators are on Easter and Hanukkah, or all the different religious breaks right now. They all fall in the same time, so they're all on break for a week. As you probably all know, the House and the Senate and the governor are like miles apart. So, I guess some of the things to watch are the letters thing. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things you might hear them speak about is something called letters training. And letters training is actually just amazing. It is probably one of the best trainings a person could get for the science of reading. I'm familiar with it. I work to bring it to Anoka Hennepin. At that time, however, very limited capacity within the folks that do the letters training. They didn't have enough trainers. And it's 140 hours. So it's 140 hours. So when they say they want to have every district do this and every teacher, my first question is, how are we operationalizing this? Because I don't have 140 hours for staff. I don't have the funds to pay every staff member 140 hours at $30 an hour. The materials are really expensive. And it's 140 hours. So I love it. I'm telling you right now, if somebody, I mean, I've had people reach out. I know we'll have people in our district that are go-getters that sign up. We'll approve it because it's amazing. But my challenge is if they say suddenly all districts are doing this, how do I force people that don't want to do that? Within our contract, that'd be really tough. And then just operationalizing it is going to be really interesting. Plus knowing that, my gosh, 4 years ago, they didn't have enough trainers to do all of my teachers in just one district, nor did they have enough trainers to even just do my K-1 teachers in that district. Now, granted, there's 26 schools of K-1 teachers, but that's still not the whole state. So that's my only concern. I love it. I think the training is the best ever. Have no idea what their plan will be to operationalize it. That's probably too much info, but.
Oh, that's good, thank you. There is some movement behind the special ed cross-subsidy, bipartisan, so there's a good chance that that might go somewhere. Senator Duckworth, I heard him speak last week at something, and he's one of the impetus behind that, and he's really a go-getter on it, so there's good momentum for that, so.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Many of you might have checked your email today from MSBA. They actually have a request for all board members. They have a form letter in there that they ask board members to communicate on behalf of your district, asking for them to put some funds towards the cross subsidy. I would support that. Certainly in our district, our cross subsidy last year was $1.7 million. And again, I want to preface this by saying, it's not that we don't want to spend that money on our students with special needs. 100% every day of the week, we want to spend that money because all students is all students. However, federal law would say that they would be fully funding. If they were following that and fully funding, it would be an additional $1.7 million that we would have freed up in our general fund to do things like programming, staffing, maintenance, all of those, anything we need. So if you have the time, take a look at that email. It provides the information you need.
Okay, scale?
I went virtually.
Okay.
So the scale meeting was interesting. There was a lot of talk about the property values. They said that notices were mailed on March 14th, and so far they've fielded about 836 calls and 368 appeals. They figure by the end of the time they collect that, they'll get about 1,400 calls. They talked a little bit about the housing market, very extremely low inventory. It's about 9 days is the median for a house to be on the market to sell right now. And they talked about the fact that most purchase prices are still above the asking price significantly, and that it's still historically low interest rates despite them going up. They talked about how all of that really is playing into kind of where we're at with how they take a look at base value changes, the median residential home values and ratios. They said that Scott County is up 23%. Jordan median home values were $328,000. That's a 25% change. So it's interesting, but they said that, you know, some people they're seeing a big change, and some they're not seeing a ton of change, but enough that they're getting 800 and some calls. So I thought it was an interesting conversation, and you know, they said that the PowerPoint would be made and be available if anybody wanted access to that.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Lauren, South Central Service Co-op Metro?
Nope.
Nope. Special Ed SEAC, Connie? Nope. Southwest Metro, this is really awesome. They petitioned through Scott County. There was some funds available, and they decided to put in a grant request, and they went for the sky's the limit for $270,000 to build a drop-in child care center at the Dean Lakes building, which will really help grow some of the programming they have there. They have the work to, I don't know, the Prior Lake connection. It's kind of like a innovation, an innovation program for startup businesses. And also the adult basic ed and the other programs there. It will be a real asset to have a drop-in daycare center there. And the $270,000 not only funds the build-out part, but it is enough to sustain it for many years down the road financially for, you know, staffing and overhead and stuff. So that's great. They're seeking to purchase another elementary school space. They're working on that. Our Jordan building over here is at capacity. Sad to say, and our Bonnie building, St. Bonnie building is near capacity. It's really sad that the number of level 4 kids is just astronomically growing. And so they're looking to build that program. The C numbers, and C is the online cooperative with all of our districts for our online school that was created as a result of COVID. Their numbers have held pretty steady. And they're predicting that their elementary numbers will decrease next year, but they are predicting that their middle school and high school numbers will increase. Obviously, we want our kids to come here. We want to keep our kids here. So, so anyway, we'll be keeping a close eye on that. They're wanting to grow that program not only with Southwest Metro students, but they want to expand it beyond Southwest Metro collaboration schools. There will be a budget overfall next year that the districts will get a small amount of money back, which happens once in a while when they have a surplus. So we don't know exactly what that amount will be. I believe Renee will be have her superintendent meeting this Thursday. And then also, sadly, again, they said there's just a real need for elementary day treatment programs. So they're looking for some opportunities for that too. So it's just a tough time for kids with mental health needs and other needs. So that was that report. I think that's all of the committees. So Molly, or no, Kaylin, let's start with you.
So since spring break, I got the privilege of going on the New Orleans trip. So that was super, super fun. It was an amazing opportunity to just be in the city that has so much music. There's music everywhere in New Orleans, and a couple of ensembles got a chance to just kind of perform somewhere. So that was really cool for them. Since then, we've also had the all-district band concert, which was a really cool opportunity for all of the 512 band students to be together, to make music together, and to show the high school students, what middle school was like, and especially some younger middle school students, what their future could be in the band program here.
Cool.
At the high school, we've also transitioned into MCA testing. So the juniors just took the math MCA, sophomores are going to take reading, and then the juniors are going to take the ACT with writing coming up, and then people are just getting ready for the reward and intervention days that are coming up as well.
Good, thank you. Any questions for Kaylin? So glad you guys had a great time on your trip. Do you know anything about the DC trip, how those kids did?
Oh yes, so DC, I don't know a ton, but I know that it went really well for the freshmen and sophomores who got to go to DC.
Okay, great, good. Thank you. Molly?
I don't have much. Track had their first outdoor meet today, so that's kind of an exciting thing. And I think the other sports is tomorrow is opening day if weather holds off.
They're saying tornadoes, blizzard, and
It's
severe
fine.
weather.
Week is not looking very good.
No, it's not looking great. Don't we have a couple snow days together?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tornadoes
Measure-
tomorrow.
They're
and then
18 inches
snowstorm.
up in.
Measurable snow
Yeah.
Thursday, but tornadoes tomorrow and severe weather.
I
And
thought
like
tomorrow's gonna be nice.
50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts.
Tomorrow night
We
it's supposed
always
to
get
start getting
missed.
really bad.
We're in the valley, you guys. We always get
We're
missed.
in the valley. We're good.
Okay, sorry, Molly,
Yeah,
back to you.
no, but nothing else really. Everything is good to go. Year's almost wrapping up,
Good.
which doesn't make her happy.
I was just gonna say, I cannot believe this year is wrapping up. We're in April. We have kids graduating. As I look at you guys, and I could cry immediately. So, no, and I just wanna say congratulations to the Harmonics.
Yes.
It's been so fun to watch them and follow them, and they have such a great time together too, and it's been so fun. So I just wanna say congratulations.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Lauren?
I want to say congratulations to our seniors. I realize they are all graduating, but they are ready and they are looking forward to the next chapter in their life. So this is a good thing for them, very good thing for them. And then I want to give a shout out to Abby Vogel. She was named the 2022 Jordan Athena Awards. So congratulations to Abby and way to go. And that was it.
Thanks, Lauren. Connie?
I did have the opportunity to do the band concert, and I think that there's a mentorship that happens in that atmosphere that the juniors and seniors don't even know is happening, because my grandson asked for a saxophone along with what he already plays, because he saw somebody playing a saxophone, so got one for his birthday. And I want to tell the mothers of the seniors, you will live. You will live. Now, I don't know if you'll live dropping them off at college the first day, because that was really, really tough. But you will get through graduation. But really proud of the kids and everything they're doing. And thanks to the staff for making it to the end of the year, because this is a hard time for them too. That's all I got.
Thanks, Connie. Sandy?
I will get through graduation, but the dropping off part, don't know how that's gonna go. So I cry at Rudolph, so I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna be a bucket of tears the next month, the next 5 months. So anyway, the speech team went to sections this past Saturday. There are 4 students going on to state, 1 duo, so it's 1 entry but 2 students. Then we have an X-reader who is a sophomore who has never been in X-reading before. She's been in speech since 7th grade, but this is her first year in this category, and she placed first at sections in AA Shakopee, Michaela Haugen, Shakopee, Chanhassen, and Chaska are in our section. So really, so it was incredible competition. I should say Connor Lesky and Autumn Pisek are the duo. And then Elizabeth Osborne in prose. I think Elizabeth has come to the board. I think she came last year and performed. So she is going to state again. So the kids worked so hard. It was really tough competition, like I said, because this was our first in-person competition since we moved to AA. We moved to AA in 2020. The season was cut off on March 13th, so we had no postseason. Last year it was all virtual, and so this was our first year of being in person. And so it was truly awesome to see those kids develop all those connections and actually talk to other kids and meet kids from other districts, and they build lifelong friendships. They really do through that. And the skills they develop in speech are just phenomenal. I mean, those kids, just seeing them, from the first practice to now, the growth is just huge. I know the New Orleans trip went well. My kid came home sick, and we spent, oh my gosh, I don't know how much money on treatments so that he could compete on Saturday. But yeah, it was a great trip. And then congratulations to Harmonics. I'm trying to think of anything else that I don't think congrats to all the sports that are kicking off their seasons. And I remember those track meets, and the Belle Plaine one was always bitterly cold.
Yeah.
And they. Oh. Yes, I did see that. And good for them to do that, because their meet, just an FYI, if you haven't been to them before, they are very long. And so,
Yes, they are.
So, and the longer it gets, the colder it gets. So, just, dress in lots of layers. So, yeah. So, anyway, that's all I have.
Thanks, Sandy. Ryan?
I maybe should have said this earlier, but I do want to commend you, Renee, on the effort put into the contracts that we approved tonight. I think as a member of the negotiating committee, having like 37 different contracts is not ideal. But I think for payroll and benefits and supervisors, that can be even more challenging. And putting something back in the box once it's out, I think can be a challenge. And you mentioned they were 98 or 99% the same, right? But that 1%, putting it back in the box can be a challenge. I know that there was some conversations around that, so thank you for your leadership on that.
Great. I echo what Ryan said. Thank you. I want to thank the elementary PTO group. They've chaired the craft sale for many years, and I know they're turning it over, but I just want to thank all of them that have been involved in that for over all the years. Congrats also to the speech team and to the Knowledge Bowl team, who did really well. Celebrate Jordan was a great event. It was fun. And just one other thing, I think if we can put in our order, maybe give it to Jamie if you want Pop's concert tickets. If you're not getting them through your kids, typically they provide the board with tickets, because even though we have the pass for the concerts, you still need a ticket for your seat. So put me down, Jamie, for 2. Anything else? I think
Motion to
that's it.
adjourn.
Okay, we are adjourned.